Welcome to the February edition of A Podcast Inspired. You're here with Dolores Nada, Master Trainer and CEO of Performance Outcomes and Associates, and I'm her daughter, Michaela Nada. I'm an author, a writer, and a librarian. Today, we're talking about the subject of the month that we all think about when we think about February. We are talking about love. To give more insight into what we're planning for the future and what's upcoming with the podcast, here's my mom, Dolores Nada.
Hi everyone. Excited to be back with you. I was wondering how many of you actually saw the last podcast at the end of January where we submitted a nice little video on us making that healthy albondiga soup, the healthy version of albondiga soup, Mexican meatball soup. I had a lot of comments about it sent to me, and one said, I never thought to take away the potato and all the other carbs that is not needed. And I tried it, and it was very tasty. Didn't miss it, and so I'm excited that at least we had one person look at it and try to make it right, Michaela.
Yeah.
But it was fun. It was fun putting it
And I
together.
got to eat that soup. I got sent home with the leftovers. So good. Putting the rice in the meatball is like next level game changer. So good. Really good.
And it was brown rice, so that was good. And it wasn't a lot because you took the potato out and you put a lot of the veggies in. So that many carbs was a healthy carb, and it stuck with you. I mean, I felt like that's my go-to soup whenever I want something that has a lot of veggies. So let's go ahead and talk about the our goals, because we recap. I'm going to recap last month. We talked about our goals. We talked about what we wanted to accomplish, and one of my goals was that I wanted to be consistent about my walking, and I wanted to focus on my brain health, and then I also wanted to stick to healthy habits. This month, month of January, I tried really hard to do that. There's, of course, still a lot of layover of let's party, let's do this, let's do that. So those are hard for me as a social person that I am. I want to be and say yes to every invitation, but that comes along with being disciplined and saying, and being preparing. What are they going to feed me, and what will I have to bring in, and that kind of thing. And what I've noticed, everyone, is that when you don't prepare and you've been doing well, you really can crash. I mean, and it's a psychological, physical, mental crash. It's something that you say, okay, let me get back up the next day. I've not drank alcohol in a long time, and when I even just have a couple of sips or half a glass of wine or something, nothing huge like I used to do when I was in college. You didn't hear that, Miguel. Your mom's perfect. But I noticed that, like, the recovery time is crazy long, and you're like, what the heck happened? I feel bad. So your body will really tell you. It will tell you, stop doing that. You were treating me well, and now you treated me, you beat me up here. But so notice those kinds of things. I know that I have, and in about 3 months I will be leaving on a beautiful trip of a lifetime out of this country, and I'm excited for it. So now I have a goal, and I'm saying all this to say that if you are struggling with your goals, write them down. We call it commit to paper. You need to write down and then look at it daily and say, okay, I'm making progress. And yeah, I'm gonna go to this one party next week, but I'm not gonna accept 5 parties, in the next 10 days, because I just can't do it. So choose the one that you feel like you can do well, take your snacks, whatever it is. And remember, it's self-love. And how funny that we're going to talk about that today. It's actually self-love. It's how do we love ourselves first, because we cannot show love to other people if we're not loving ourselves. I mean, we can, but is it sincere? I don't know. So, what do you think, Mia?
Yeah. As far as, recapping the last month, I made an effort to get back on my miracle mornings, and I've been doing good at sustainably taking my medicine and going on walks every day, which really is helpful with Azul to like have a nice long walk and make sure he gets his exercise. And then I've also incorporated strength training as of the past month. So I was able to start that and get some exercise that way. And then even my mom doesn't know this yet, but I took the first steps to guarding my mental health as far as self love is concerned by getting set up with a new psychiatrist and a new therapist. So I'm just really trying to put all the pieces in place to be healthy and successful during 2024.
That's beautiful. And how does your mama not know that?
Well, I got to save some things for the podcast.
God, I need to know everything. No, just kidding. All right. So, and I really am just kidding. You're a grown woman. I need to
Mm-hmm.
back off.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the recap. Let's keep going. Just keep on keeping on, like the 70s, the 70s term, we used to, or what was the other one? Anyway, I'll think about it. I was born and raised in the 70s and the 80s. So those are the ones that come to me. So keep on keeping on. All right, everybody. Don't give up. Never, ever, ever, ever give up. All right. Let's talk about love for a minute. And again, these are short podcasts. And we are talking about love this month. We're going to break it down here today. We're going to talk about the different types of love. But the first one definitely is self love. So, everything that I talk to you about today, please think about it as okay, well, how can I show love to myself? Um, there's a beautiful song that won Song of the Year, Miley Cyrus. It's called Flowers, and it talks about um, how she needed to take care of herself. The way I interpret it is she was involved in a relationship where she, fought a lot with her partner, significant other, and was hurt a lot. And this song is kind of like a rebuttal that she could take care of herself. Like she can bring herself flowers. She can do all the things. She can hold her own hand, which I don't know how. I think maybe like this. I don't know, but she won in the Grammys yesterday. The best song of the year. And I was rooting for her because one of the things that y'all don't know, and it's not private, she maybe not doesn't speak about it a lot, but Miley Cyrus went to Dr. Amen, who is the doctor that I am licensed after for brain health. And I support what he does. And she was one of his patients before when she was just like a wrecking ball and she was just literally just wrecking her life. And she went to see him and he diagnosed her as having um, some past trauma. And she's worked on it all these last couple of years. She was just like a model patient and had to give up drinking. She probably had a little last night, but not on a consistent basis where you go there. But that's what Dr. Amen shared with us, and that I'm really excited for her because she had to step back and take care of herself and stop doing the things she knew would hurt her brain and and then start back in her career. It wasn't like she had to give up her career, but I was just so excited to hear that she won last night because of the fact that she's been through a lot, her journey through challenges. And what a reward, what a reward to be able to say that her song talking about self-love was considered the best single for the year. So anyway, what do you think, Miha?
Yeah, I really appreciate that idea of loving yourself, and especially, you know, having the strength to move on from something that's not healthy when all you have is yourself.
Mhm.
As someone who's been through divorce, I can really understand that feeling of, needing to stand on your own 2 feet and needing to be the one who takes care of you. And you know, one of the ideas that have really strongly resonated with me in my life is that, you know, I've always like wanted someone to pick me and choose me, but the most important person to choose you is yourself, like
Mm-hmm.
you need to pick yourself, you need to prioritize yourself, you need to take care of
Mm-hmm.
yourself because at the end of the day, like you're the one who knows you best, you're the one who can do the best work for yourself. So that's really important to me.
Very good. Yeah, that's true. I agree 100%. So, speaking of Dr. Amen, let's talk about, he talks about self love in a different way. And he talks about it that, there's four parts or systems to our brain. And yes, I happen to have my brain model here. Let's see. Four systems to this amazing brain, right? And really, the first system is biological. So, meaning that how we take care of our brain. So, in the situation that I talked about, and in a lot of our situations, sometimes we have to stop doing certain things to our brain that we don't realize is really hurting it, like uh, um, excessive drug use or alcohol use, or even blood sugar levels being high because you've eaten a lot of sugar and that's affecting your brain. So it's, he says here, I'm looking at one of the books that he said, that in the biological part of your brain, like a good night's sleep, that's going to help us so much. Just hitting those 7 hours minimum is going to help you to wake up refreshed and happy, and you're taking care of your brain by doing that. Then there's the psychological, and the psychological means like healthy routines, and that's what we talked about last month. We talked about, getting those healthy routines in order, getting up miracle morning, and going out and taking that walk and breathing that fresh air, starting my day with, today is going to be a great day, with self-talk. That's a psychological system of your brain. So biological is taking care of it, the biological part of it. Psychological is in implementing routines, ending the day with maybe a thought before you hit the bed. Oh, this is something I definitely want you guys to do. All of you who are listening, when you go to sleep at night, when you hit the pillow, before you close your eyes, say, what went well today? Just even if it's just one thing, because humans that we are want to talk about, oh, I didn't do this, oh, I didn't get to that, and then beat ourselves up before we're gonna go to sleep. And that's the worst time, because if I did that to myself, I would dream about all my failures. But today I want you to just start, what went well today, before you hit the pillow. And that's the psychological way that we can take care of ourselves. Social, we need to be connected to positive people. Okay, so if the people that you're around are not good for you, let's just say, my mother used to say, birds of a feather flock together. I remember when I was in high school and I'd hang around with some of my friends that were kind of troublemakers. But I was always the good one in the group. Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. They used to call me Osmond because they said I was too smart. I always want to follow the rules, scared to get crazy. No, I just felt like that. I didn't want to disappoint anyone. So social, remember, my mother would always say birds of a feather flock together. And I used to think, what does that even mean? And as I grew older, I understood. Um, the strongest person in that circle of friends will inevitably influence habits on the person who is not as strong. I won't use the word weak, but the followers. There's followers and there's leaders. You know that. So be careful with those you hang around with. Let hang around with people who have like interests. Okay, and then that help your brain. And then the best part of the four parts. Now remember, we went to biological, psychological, social. But Dr. Amen talks about the spiritual as well. And that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to tell you about my God, Jesus Christ. I'm going to tell you, though, being close to God, or being a person who meditates, or being a person who knows that there's something more to this world than just what I'm doing, because then you have something to depend on when you're not able to get it all together, whatever that means to you. For me and Micaela, she mentioned before, we study some scriptures in the Holy Bible, or we pray, or we meditate on things that are important to us. And that's the way that when we find a dead end in our resolution of life, how can we have that faith, right? So those are the four parts of the brain. It's the biological, psychological, social, and spiritual. And honestly, that's the way that you can create self-love, by trying to do something in those four areas to help you to face this world. And that's because there are other types of love. I don't know if anyone's ever talked to y'all about the types of love. There is agape love, which means unconditional. That's the kind of love God has for us. If you're a believer in salvation, um, then there's a uh, Philly love. Hold on, I want to say it the right way, and my notes have moved me. Let's see. Oh, here they are. All right. So then there's. Go ahead, Micaela. Talk for me. Oh, here it is. Agape love. It says. I got so many notes. I just have so much to say, and I don't know. Unconditional love. So we see the outer part of the person, and we accept them with their flaws, unconditionally. There's nothing that person could do that would take that love away. All right. So that's kind of like the love you get from your spiritual. Then there's eros love. Eros is sensual, passionate, and it's where the term erotic comes from. And that's a different type of love. Have you ever heard the term, oh, you don't love them, you lust after them? That's that's eros. And I'm sure we've all had our opportunities where that happens. And then there's filial love, and that's the friendship love. How we love our friends so much. I mean, I have some besties. I call them sister friends, because they're closer to me than sister love, and they're my friends. So that's filial love, and it's a strong bond. They say it's the family that you didn't that you chose, not destiny didn't choose you with them. And that's the fourth of three loves. But I added self-love, and that's why I started with self-love, because honestly, we got to get this together before we can do this to anyone else, before we can do one of these. I feel like if you don't know what love is because you haven't been treating yourself with love, how can you love someone else? All right.
Well,
Talk to
that
me.
was a big overview of different kinds of love. I know it's a big concept to think about love in different ways, but I think we can all relate to those different types of relationships we have. Um, we're about at the tail end of this episode, so we just wanted to wrap up a little bit and talk about what's coming next, coming down the pipeline for our following episodes, what we've got planned for this month, and ask for a little bit of feedback if you want to talk about, where you experience eros love or filial love or agape love, how you experience spirituality or God. We're really interested to hear, about your different experiences with love, and especially, we want to focus today on self love, how you do self love and self care, and how you show love to yourself.
Hmm. And we also will have a recipe, some type of a healthy recipe. I'm trying to get an assistant. I'm trying to get some help with that. And if I do, it'll be a famous chef who will be showing us how to make a healthy version of something chocolate. And that will be at the end of
Chocolate.
the chocolate. at the end at the end of the month. Okay.
Great.
So so great to have talked to you today. I was a lot, like you said, Miha. So, but we're gonna do a part two here in a minute, and we'll probably elaborate a little bit more on those things. But please email us, talk to us.
Yeah, our email is a podcastinspired@gmail.com.
All right.
Bye.
Gracias.